C. Howard Wilkins, Ambassador of the United States to the Netherlands, to perform the opening.
Plenty of water here. I might need some beer. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dames and heren. I am deeply and personally honored for having been invited to open the Hugo Awards ceremony in this, the 48th World Convention, 48th World Science Fiction Convention here in The Hague. I personally, as a little side note, I've always been intrigued by extraterrestrial intelligence. With current events in mind, intelligent life may exist on many planets, including the Earth, but it strikes me that there isn't very much evidence of that just yet. Present company accepted, of course. A bit of the paranormal is certainly at work here, since this is the only second world convention on the European continent in 50 years, and otherwise, I know I would never have received this chance to do this in the United States. Not only to meet and to rub elbows with my own favorite authors, but to actually have a fan's privilege of asking, just what the hell did you mean about that anyway? So it's still yet another evidence of the great synchro at work. I'm sure you've had a great time, an exciting time here at the ConFiction so far, with just a glimpse into the rooms with Case earlier. By running over the conference schedule, one can see that it's as much a festival as it is a convention, and very appropriately. We are all part of the global extended family of science fiction fans, and I think attracts so many others is not merely the aroma of speculation or imagination or change, which is really at the heart of SF, but it's this subtle conspiracy, I guess, which all of us who read science fiction and love it, we all feel we're part of this conspiracy, this global conspiracy. The first Bradbury that I read astonished me with just the simple assumption that I was as capable of launching into that kind of speculation as the author was. It was the first literature I had run across that considered me, at the tender age of, I think, 18 or 19, equal to the author.
The name E. Everett Evans may not be as well known on this side of the Atlantic as it is over in the United States, but 25 years ago, this was one of the most generous fans who ever lived. He died of a heart attack, and after his passing, we created the Big Heart Fund to carry on and give awards to individuals we felt that lived in the mold of Mr. Evans. Early on, Robert Bloch received the award, Doc Smith, the Joe Trimble. It's an international award when there still was an Iron Curtain. It went at one time to Herbert Heusler of East Germany. It has gone to the creator of Perry Roden, Walter Ernstein, of West Germany, been received by a Frenchman, an Australian, and we have at least 3 former winners in the audience this evening. There's David Kyle, and Rusty Hevelin, and the widow of Bob Pavlik. It's been said that one picture is worth 1,000 words. In that case, the winner this evening must have donated about 1 million words to the science fiction fraternity. I hear there's a rumor that there may be 3 among you who have not been photographed by him at this convention. reads here, 1990, the E. Everett Evans Big Heart Award to science fiction's favorite photographer, J.K. Klein. On this occasion.
And no flash allowed either. I guess I feel like the Tin Woodman, and if only someone would give me some brains and maybe some courage and a pair of ruby slippers, if you could manage that. I must say, I never really thought that I would be standing up here with something like this that has been given to so many very nice people in the past. Thank you very much.
Next, we have the first Fandom Award. This is a tradition that, of course, goes back all the way to the beginning, when a few of us, well, not us in my generation, but the generation before that, gathered in a very, very small group to start something that became Worldcon. To present the first Fandom Award, we have Ray Bean.
First Fandom is an organization of people who were active in science fiction prior to January of 1939. The purpose of the Hall of Fame Award is to honor people who made significant contributions to the field before the Hugo Awards were initiated. The first gentleman elected to receive this award is one of those persons. He was one who helped organize the first science fiction convention in Philadelphia in 1936. Through his many articles and columns in various science fiction publications, he has helped the field grow over the years. He is still active as a dealer in pulp magazines, and through the years he has been a good personal friend. I would like to present this award to Robert A. Nagel.
I feel especially honored to accept this award for Robert Nagel because, as it happens, he was the very first science fiction fan that I ever contacted at the age of 11, and I've never regretted it.
For the next Hall of Fame Award, I would like to introduce Roger Sims, co-chairman of the 1959 World Convention in Detroit, and guest of honor 2 years ago at the New Orleans Worldcon. He will present the second award.
Thank you, Ray. In 1914, three soon-to-be outstanding science fiction and fantasy artists were born. Two were Virgil Finlay and Hannes Bloch. The third has been chosen to receive the second of three 1990 Hall of Fame awards. His career began while a student at the Pratt Institute when William James of Street and Smith asked him to illustrate stories in Wild West Weekly, Love Story, and Detective Story. Upon graduation, he became the illustrator for The Shadow, but it was not until he began illustrating stories in Unknown
that he developed a humorous, whimsical style that became his hallmark. This and his clean line work, fine shading, distinctive brush and lithographic pencil technique made him a very sought-after illustrator. Between 1935 and 1955, he produced over 800 illustrations and covers for the Pulps, Fantasy and Gnome Press, Red Dragon Comics, and King Features Syndicate. The Pulps included those mentioned, plus Astounding Science Fiction, Fantasy Adventures, Planet Stories, Astounding Science Fiction, Fantastic Adventures, Other Worlds, and Wonder Stories. Some of the authors his works illustrated were Isaac Asimov, Robert L. Bloch, L. Sprague Camp, Robert Heinlein, Theodore Sturgeon, and Jack Williamson. Because of this and much more, First Fandom proudly presents to Edward Daniel, or as he preferred, Ed, E.D.D. Cartier, our Hall of Fame award. Ed could not be here, excepting for him is Rusty Heather.
Like AJ, I'm really flattered and honored to receive this for Ed Cartier. I've admired his work since my first glimpse of it back in the 30s. And 4 weeks ago, on July 21st, I was most pleased to have my first opportunity to meet the man, spend an evening with him, and find out how much he appreciated the fact that he's still remembered and is getting the honors. He recently received an honor from the UN, and I don't know whether he'll rate this along with this, but he did express and asked me to express his great appreciation, the idea that people are still aware and recognizing his work. Thank you very much.
Tonight is Alex Schomburg, master of the airbrush. He's been with us since the 1930s, giving us some of the finest covers and interior artwork in the science fiction field. His work has appeared in most science fiction magazines and been published over the past 55 years. He was from an artistic family, as his older brother, August, did many air war covers for flying leases in the 1930s. And personally, I can say he's one of the most vibrant, friendly, and intellectual men I've ever met. A genuine pleasure to be with, talk to, listen to, and learn from. I'm indeed proud to know him and be the one to make the presentation of the first Fandom Hall of Fame Award to Alex Schomburg, one of science fiction's finest artists, a gentleman whose fine works speak for themselves and deserving this honor. Alex could not be here, so accepting for him is Dave Langford.
Who made it?
Who knows?
Rick Katzy?
The chairman.
And
the man from Price and Waterhouse.
You know Richard Burton?
7 nominations and not 1 Oscar.
Steven Spielberg?
And George Lucas.
They made it.
Without an Oscar.
Boy, oh boy.
What a millions.
Gorbachev made it.
And Bush is Bush.
And what about Nixon?
No, he just listened.
Stanley and Livingstone made it.
We presume.
Neil Armstrong made it.
With 1 tiny step.
Isaac Asimov never made it.
Across the ocean.
Hugo Awards.
His name made it.
Hello, friends. I'm the spirit of Saint Hugo. From Luxembourg. It was I who started all this, you know. With Ralph plus 007. Oh, sorry, wrong number. Corey? Corey Ackerman, are you there? Hello, Corey. Long time no see, no? Got to stop meeting like this.
My job now. We'll have him to help because you couldn't have Hugos without Hugo. Thank you. Oh, this gives me such a wonderful feeling of satisfaction. If I could do osmosis, I'd get it through the page. We're going to be presenting these wonderful awards. And I think it's important to remember that these awards are very unusual in the publishing community because unlike most awards, this is not given by the critics or by the writers, but by the readers. And I don't know of any other major award that can say that and say it honestly. We will be able to present these awards to these poor and eager people in the first few rows. And, oh, I get to open the envelope. Thank you. There are 14 of these lovelies to give out tonight. And with any luck, Hugo will be able to get them to all of you. And if nothing else, you can come to him for the gin later for consolation. Are we ready for slides? Are we ready for slides? There are slides to go with this. I'm afraid my hands are tied at the moment. I'm supposed to wait until they open this up and show you the screen. I can't even read what's written right here. We could try rhythmic clapping. The first Hugo in contention is for Best Original Artwork. James Gurney for Quetzal, James Gurney for The Stress of Her Regard, Don Mates for Rim Runners, Gary Rudell for Hyperion, Michael Whalen for Paradise, Michael Whalen again for The Renegades of Pern, and no award. Oh, really? The winner is Don Mates for Rim Runners, to be accepted by Anne McCaffrey.
They asked me to tell you and to thank all of the Hugo Committee, this World Convention. They will be absolutely over the moon. Thank you very much.
With the second award, which is the John W. Campbell Award for the Best New Writer, I relinquish the podium to Stanley Schmidt, the editor of Analog.
The John W. Campbell Award was named in honor of John W. Campbell, who was my predecessor, twice removed, and edited Astounding and later Analog for more than half of its 60-year history, and was perhaps best known for discovering and developing new writers, some of whom became somewhat well-known. Isaac Asimov, Robert Heinlein, people of that ilk. And this has always been a tradition which has been maintained at Analog of seeking out and developing new writers. John was also noted for his gentle tactics for doing this. I remember my first letter that showed interest started off, "Dear Mr. Schmidt, this isn't a story," and went on for 2 pages to tell me why. And so we're still trying to do things like that to help new writers along. And we also present this award once a year to honor one outstanding new writer who has shown up anywhere in the field. And this year, the nominees are John Kramer, Nancy Collins, Catherine Neville, Christine Catherine Rush, and Alan Steele. And I know who the winner is and you don't. But if you would like me to tell you, the winner is Christine Catherine Rush. This is not Christine Catherine. Accepting for Chris is Jack Chalker.
Didn't have that. Yeah, you know I do a lot of transformation stuff, but this is ridiculous. I asked Chris why she wanted me to pick it up, and she said because you're 0-3 and you've never had anything in Pulp House, and therefore you have no jinx.
Well, here it is. I'll tell her, I'll get this to her first thing, and there's going to be a lot of celebration in Eugene.
For Best Fan Writer, Mike Lyer, Arthur D. Halavati, I'm sorry if I did that wrong, Dave Langford, Evelyn Leeper, Leslie Turek, and no award. Dave Langford.
Is that Dave Langford?
The old man never could get anything right. Dave, here it is.
Well, it was a surprise. In the great tradition of science fictional prediction, I'm afraid I went on record as saying in the program book that the Hugo Award base would take the form of a giant wooden clod. I seem to be wrong, but I'm not going to be back. Thank you very much.
This is the award for Best Fan Artist. The nominees are Steve Fox, Teddy Harvia, Meryl Nsinga, Joe Mayhew, Stu Schiffman, and Tara Wine, and of course the ever popular No Award. Stu Schiffman, the award will be accepted by Marshall Federer.
Well, I never thought I'd get to do this, but I always hoped I would. And I don't mean for myself, I mean for Stu. I had the privilege of introducing Stu Schiffman to Fandom, and he very quickly surpassed me in every way. He holds the record at the moment, until tonight, for the most nominations in any category without a win. And you've just broken his chance to increase that record. But I don't think he'll be disappointed. So thank you very much. He's probably the happiest fan in North America about 15 minutes from now when I call him.
The fifth area of competition is the best non-fiction book. The contenders are Arthur C. Clarke, Astounding Days, Harlan Ellison's Watching, Robert A. Heinlein, Rumbles from the Grave, edited by Virginia Heinlein, Ursula K. Le Guin, Dancing at the Edge of the World, Alexei and Corey Panshin, The World Beyond the Hill, Greg Folklar, Maurice Comfrey's Souvenir Book, and no award. The winner is The World Beyond the Hill, Alexei and Corey.
Corey Panshin thanked the readers and fans of science fiction for this award. They have asked me to say, for us, this Hugo honoring The World Beyond the Hill reaffirms the promise of unknown things, higher possibilities, and human becoming, which first drew us all to science fiction. a promise which these days sometimes appears to have been forgotten. Let us challenge the writers and the editors of SF to make our eyes light up in awe and wonder again.
The sixth category is Best Semi-Prozy. The nominees are Charles M. Brown for Locus, Catherine Kramer, David G. Hartwell, and Gordon Van Gelder for the New York Review of Science Fiction, D. Douglas France for Thrust, Andrew J. Porter, Science Fiction Chronicle, David Pringle for Interzone, and no award. Well, we're used to doing it. Charlie Brown for Locus.
15 now, more than anybody else, more than Le Guin and Clark and Ryder put together.
As usual, I'd like to thank the staff that has put this out. It's a magazine that can't be done by one person, and we do have 5 people who do it. And I think they all deserve the credit, but I'm not going to give them the award.
In the 7th category is Best Fanzine. The competition is Mike Glyer for File 770, Timothy Lane for Phosphax, George Lankowski for Land's Lantern, Pat Muller for Pirate Jenny, Leslie Turner for the Bad 3 Party, and no award. The winner is the Mad 3 Party, Leslie Turner.
Leslie did give me a few words to say in the event this happened. I'm sure at the moment she's in deep shock. I'm very happy. Credit for Mad 3 Party really should go not just to the editor, but to the whole NyCon II committee for being willing to let it all hang out. Special thanks to my reviewers, Mark Olson, Don Eastlake, Fred Isaacs, and George Flynn, and my production assistants, Al Kemp and Chip Hitchcock. Finally, thanks to the readers, the writers, and everyone who helped put it together. Thank you, everyone.
This is for the Best Dramatic Presentation. The competition is The Abyss. My personal favorite, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. Batman. The Field of Dreams. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And no award. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, accepted by Rick Cates.
The producers are sorry they could not be here to accept this award. I think the award really belongs to Mr. Jones, Sr.
In the 9th category, for Best Short Story, the nominees are Orson Scott Card for Lost Boys, Susie Mickey Charnas for Boobs, Eileen Gunn for Computer Friendly, Larry Niven for The Return of William Proxmire, Bruce Sterling for Dory Bangs, Michael Swanwick for The Edge of the World, and the ever-popular Award. You know, every now and then you get to do something you really want to do, and when you've got an old as friend as I do in this winter, come on and get it, Susie!
Well, guys, hot dog! I should say, the story, Boobs, made the rounds a bit. And a lot of people said, a lot of editors said, gee, I really love this story, but there really isn't a place for it in my magazine, or my book, or my collection. And I want to thank Audrey Dozwa for picking it up, and Lisa Tuttle for picking it up too, in her anthology, Skin and Soul. And I just want to thank everybody who let this story get to them. Thank you all so much.
I'm getting tired. Would you like to do this?
Okay, I'll try. For Best Professional Editor, Gardner Dozwa, Edward L. Furman, David G. Hartwell, Beth Meacham, Charles C. Ryan, Stanley Schmidt, and no award. Again, it is getting more popular, you notice? The winner is Gardner Dozwa.
Well, thank you all. I'm very pleased. 20 years ago, I would have vaulted up onto the stage, but I'm not capable of that anymore. I'd like to thank, again, all of the people that I work with on Isaac Asimov's Science Fiction magazine, in particular, my managing editor, Sheila Williams. I'd like to thank my wife, Susan Casper. And I'd like to thank millions of people for the years of support and help they've given me in this field, but I don't have the time, so I'll just mention the few that are here. Joe and Gay Haldeman, George Martin and Susan Paris, Pat Cadigan, Eileen Gunn, Maggie Flynn, and all of you. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you.
My notes tell me here that I have to ad-lib for a little while. Tom Kidd, Don Mace, Michael Whalen, and no award. Come and get it, Annie. It's Don Mace. All right.
I could tell him that he'd won one Hugo, and he'd believe me. But what on earth is he going to say in Florida when I tell him he's won two? Not that I don't think he deserves it richly, because I think his work myself has been magnificent. And I know that he will be absolutely floored by this support from all of you readers and all of you editors and publishers. Thank you very, very, very much.
We're doing things a little backward at the moment. By the way, I have to say this, now that we've given the award. The most beautiful cover I ever had in my life came from Don Mates, and I am so happy somebody's saying thank you. We are doing the novellas before the novelettes. Don't anybody get nervous, we haven't forgotten. For the best novella, Lois McMaster Bugeaud for The Mountain of Mourning. Megan Lindholm, A Touch of Lavender. Judith Moffat, Tiny Tango. Lucius Shepard, The Father of Stones. Connie Willis, Time Out. And no award. The winner is The Mountain of Mourning by Louis McMaster, accepted by Tony Westhoff.
One of the best things, one of the biggest rewards that I got for working at Bain Books was the privilege of working with Lois and reading her stuff. She's really, really good, and I thank you all for sharing your enthusiasm. For Lois, she says, "To me, writing is a two-player game. The end product is not the static print on the page, but rather the thoughts, images, and reflections passing through a mind upon reading that print. For recreating Miles so splendidly in your heads, as you must be doing, I thank you all most profoundly. And thanks for the racket, too. It's truly a gift. For getting this tale from me to you, I thank Stan Schmidt of Analog, Jim Bain of Bain Books. They have helped create much of the good luck I have enjoyed these last few years. Of late, I've been developing a sort of weird reverse paranoia. I'm becoming convinced that there are strangers out there plotting to do me good. This business is full of gifts to be grateful for. New friends, best of all. I thank you all."
Card for Dog Walker. George Alec Effinger for Everything But Honor. Nancy Kress for The Price of Oranges. Mike Resnick for I Have Touched the Sky. Robert Silverberg for Enter a Soldier, Later Enter Another. Connie Willis for At the Rialto. And no award. Again, huh? Robert Silverberg for Enter a Soldier, Later Enter Another.
Well, I'm often accused of being very cool and blasé and worldly. I want to assure you that nobody is blasé about this, least of all me. Because, unlike more than 5 or 6 of you, I can remember being at the very first Hugo ceremony 37 years ago, sitting in the far up balcony watching the likes of Alfred Bester, Willie Ley, and Forrest J. Ackerman winning the very first Hugos. I was then 18 years old. And just wondering how many years it would be before I came down from the top of the balcony and got my own. As it turned out, it was 3 years, which was a lot to be blasé about, but no. For this, I have a lot of people to thank. Jim Bain suggested to me that I edit a book of stories in which historical characters talk to each other. And Bill Fawcett twisted my arm and said, do it. So I did it, and I wrote the story. And Gardner Dozois then published it in his lovely magazine before it came out in the Timegate anthology that I was editing. So I need to thank all of those people. And I need to thank Plato, who made it so easy for me by giving me Socrates. And thank you all.
This last Hugo is not going to be presented by me, but our closet fan is going to come back. The ambassador to the Netherlands will present the novel for the best novel, Hugo. Right.
First, I wanted to share with you this remarkable coincidence. Guess what my top secret government code name is? No award. So it was so courteous of you to include me in every one of them. Well, this is a really fun event here now. But for the best novel, Paul Anderson, The Boat of a Million Years. Orson Scott Card, Prentice Alvin. George Alec Effinger, A Fire in the Sun. Dan Simmons, Hyperion. And Sherry S. Tepper, Grass. And no award. Hyperion. Dan Simmons. Accepted by Little Rock.
I can't tell you how much of a relief it is that Dan won this award, because about 9 people asked me to accept for them tonight, and I'm starting to wonder if I personally was the jinx here. Dan, in the hopes that perhaps you would win, asked me to read a couple of lines. He said, if Lou Veronica is reading this aloud, then the vastly improbable has just come to pass. And if you listen very carefully, you can hear the author of Hyperion shouting for joy some 5,000 miles to the west in Colorado. I would like to take this opportunity to embarrass Lou Veronica by thanking him for granting me the time and space to wrestle with that labor of love, which was to become Hyperion and the fall of Hyperion. And I would also like to thank him for assigning me a wonderful editor, Betsy Mitchell, who was most tactful in reminding me that while time and space may be boundless, even labors of love must eventually draw to a close. Those of you who have read Hyperion may have noticed that it was my poor attempt to pay homage to poet John Keats. Keats once wrote in a letter to a friend, "I am certain of nothing but the holiness of the heart's affections and the truth of imagination. What the imagination seizes as beauty must be truth, whether it existed before or not." I suspect that Keats did not know it, but I realized he was describing the lure of science fiction and the reason you are all gathered here tonight to show your heart's affection for our chosen genre. Our literature celebrates the truth of the imagination. I am very happy and deeply grateful that you chose to honor Hyperion tonight. Thank you very, very much.
Would I be out of line to call all the winners to the stage in this lower area, please? You were given the photo rules.
Why do I suddenly feel like we're in Demetrius and the Gladiator?
Aida. There are limited areas where photographers may walk. That does not include JK. And only official convention photographers may go beyond that point. Please, no one on the stage but these kind and good people. At the end of the ceremony, which is not quite yet, photographers may come down to the front area and not onto the stage. When arranged, when announced, accredited press, that's green tag and black tag ribbons, may come on the stage for press conference, but that will not be until the standard chance for the rest of you to get your photographs is over. All right? Now then, with that warning, the rest of you may decide you'd like to go off and celebrate for your favorite stories or drown your sorrows in some excellent beer. You're free to do that at this time. We thank the committee for this excellent job and this beautiful presentation, and for that matter, this superb convention. We thank Rick Cakes for his careful counting of ballots and his impeccable trust. And we thank all of you for sitting through this otherwise uninteresting ceremony.